The Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, for the 15th time, hosts the ACC Tournament, the 73rd such tournament. And today, the first of 5 days with 14 games to crown a champion. The Pitt Panthers and Stanford Cardinal are in the building to kick it off with one of the nation's best scorers, Ebuka Okori, and a Stanford team that is right on the bubble. Welcome to the T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Basketball Tournament. 15 versus 10 to kick us off here in Charlotte. Pitt and Stanford meet for the second time in a couple of weeks, and it's a Cardinal team that probably needs 2 wins this week at least to get into the big dance next week. Here's the bracket with Duke, the 1 seed and defending ACC Tournament champion, Virginia, Miami, and Carolina. All the double bye to the quarterfinals Thursday, and we have a bubble team in all of our 3 games today. It should be a great week of basketball here in Charlotte. Kevin Brown and Jay Williams, you won this tournament 3 times. What's the experience like?
Well, I always felt that it bolted you into the NCAA tournament, and when you think about the overall genesis of this ACC tournament, first off, the prohibitive favorite Duke, they're bleeding a little bit. They're down 2 starters, Caleb Foster, Patrick Gumba, who may come back, who may not come back. And the field feels wide open for the first time in a while. And with so many teams on the bubble, there could be a chance for a team like Stanford or like Pitt to launch themselves into the NCAA tournament. And
to go on a run, sometimes you need a superstar to take you there. Stanford has that in Ebuka Okori.
Okori is must-watch TV. He is, to me, the best finisher in all of college basketball. There's very much of a Kyrie Irving-like feel to the way he plays. You hear names like A.J. Devonsa, Cameron Boozer, Darren Peterson, but Okori is a name you're going to hear over and over. One of the top prospects and one of the nation's best scorers in the game of college basketball.
Our Food Lion, food for thought, he is the 2nd leading freshman scorer in the country, only behind Devonsa at BYU, 5th overall in Division I, as you said. We've seen these type of players and scorers take a team and put them on their back in March. Maybe, just maybe, Stanford's going to have a magical run in it. Joe Lunardi has them as the 2nd team out of the field right now. There are 5 ACC bubble teams all in action in the first 2 days. And Roger Ayers throws it up. Pitt wins the tip. Lee Cassell, Jerry Heater fill out our officiating crew. And we are underway, the first of 14 games in 5 days at the ACC Tournament in Charlotte. Pitt gets Roland Cialeppa, the freshman, rolling, and he leaves it short. As we take a look at the starting lineup for the Stanford Cardinal, 2nd year of the ACC for Kyle Smith's Cardinal. Okori and Benny Gieler, a great shooting backcourt. Jalen Thompson, A.J. Rahosi, and Aiden Cam in the front court. Stanford is the 2nd hottest team in the league behind Duke. They've won 4 straight to get on the bubble heading into this tournament. Jalen Thompson, a 6'7" sophomore, a 2-point-per-game scorer, has the first bucket here in Charlotte. Pitt starting 5, you're going to see these 5 a lot. They are about 6 deep. Minor and Witherspoon, the guards. Dunning, a good shooter. Cialeppa, and then Cam Corrin has been playing lights out, the best basketball of his life over the last 6 games for the senior. Here's Corrin in the paint. On the kick, Cialeppa misses a 3, down to Kamen.
The last time these 2 teams played, Okori was held to 6 points in the first half. We saw a variety of different looks defensively, but exploded in the second half for 28 points.
Well, he's got an assist here. Benny Gieler, 2nd best 3-point shooter in the league, and Stanford has a 3 on its first 2 trips.
You know, just when you think you lock down Okori, a guy like Gieler had a career high of 30 points, made 7 threes on his senior day against SMU.
The Panthers went 3-2 in their last 5 just to make it. Remember, the bottom 3 teams in the league standings don't make it to Charlotte. Pitt had to win in overtime at Syracuse on Saturday to get here, and they are 0 for 3 to start. Cialeppa is fouled on the offensive rebound. 8th year at Pitt for Jeff Capel, only 1 NCAA tournament. Coaching to keep his season alive and maybe more. His Panthers have found, Jay, a defensive identity, though, down the stretch to get here.
Yeah, only 3 years ago, Jeff Capel was the ACC Coach of the Year. They made a run in the NCAA tournament to the round of 32. And a lot of this starts with Corrin down low, a guy that needs to get going offensively to give them a lift.
Barry Dunning Jr. 34% three-point shooter, 12.5 a game, gets Pitt on the board. Here's Gieler, the former walk-on, and he turned it over off of Minor, then back off of Gieler. It will go to Pittsburgh. Kyle Smith's done a magnificent job. He's the first Stanford coach ever to win 20 games in his first 2 years at the school. 20-11. They're playing their best basketball of the year down the stretch at a place where Kyle Smith said, I think it's the best job in the country because of what Stanford offers academically and athletically. And he's trying to get them back to the tournament. It's been a while. Witherspoon misses. Another offensive rebound for Cialepa. He can't convert. He's got the ball again.
Cialepa is playing like an absolute man, just fierce and a sense of urgency. You can tell with the way he's crashing the offensive glass.
Averages 3 offensive rebounds a game. He's already got 3. Here's Minor. End of the shot clock. 3. In and out. And this time, somebody finally seals Cialepa. It's Rahosi with the rebound for Stanford. Cardinal have been red hot in this win streak offensively. Tough look for Kamen. Grabbed by Dunning for Pitt. Stanford in the last 3 in particular is averaging 89 points per game. Won at NC State 85-84 on Saturday to get him back in the bubble mix. Corin hesitates and scores.
What a find by Minor, though. Minor did a really good job coming off that side pick and roll and kind of extending it with that elbow extended and found that little lace pass for Corin. They have to get Corin going over the last 2 games, averaging around 18.5 points per game.
There's a Corey, gets around Minor, rattles out a 2. The first shot attempt for Ibuka Corey today.
Corin is just working his tail off down low. You allow him to get post position that far down low, he has you sealed. And this is what I talk about. Just extends it a little bit right there. A little slip pass. Corin does a really good job being strong. Got away with a little bit of a travel there, shuffling those feet, but still, you like the strong finish.
Pitt plays at the slowest tempo in the ACC, and the Panthers thought that was a defensive foul. It was on Corin, so Roger Ayers is going to come and explain this to Jeff Cable. First, he'll talk to Jerry Heater. Corin got tangled up with Rahosi, so the foul goes on Cam Corin. It brings Noyes Indrasitis off the bench for Amari Witherspoon. Stanford goes to Donovan Young in the game for Kamen. And Young grabs his feed from Rahosi, can't finish. Here is Minor, 131st Division I game, 129 starts. Decorated career for him. Hoping this won't be the last day of it. The senior Corin will draw a foul on Young. A 6-5 lead for Stanford in the opening stanza of the ACC Tournament. The T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Tournament is brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Our resident bracketologist, Joe Lenardi, as of this morning, says Stanford is the 2nd team out of the projected field. Virginia Tech, the 3rd out. SMU, the 2nd in. They all play today. Time for our better outcomes, brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Here's the resume for Stanford. 5 quad 1 wins, good. 3 quad 3 losses, bad. And the number you're going to hear a lot about in the upcoming week, the WAB, wins above bubble. New metric added last year. The net has to deal with your efficiency. Not just do you win or lose, but how much do you win or lose by. Wins above bubble is purely resume. It takes a standard bubble team, which is number 45 in the net, and compares what you've done based on your results to what that bubble team would do. For a baseball fan, think of it like wins above replacement. So for Stanford, that's a good number. And if you looked last year, the wins above bubble number was more indicative of the at-large selections than the net. They've been using the net for a while, so Stanford can win a couple of games here, Jay, today, and then one or two others, they'll have a shot.
Yeah, I think Stanford needs to get to the conference semifinals. That would have given them 7 quad one wins. And the whole thing about, wins above the bubble, you want to see teams compete against teams that are tournament-like teams to show you the ability to win multiple games in the NCAA tournament.
That's thrown away by Cialeppa. So if Stanford wins today, they'll play NC State tomorrow. That would be a chance for a 6th quad one win. And this is notable for Kyle Smith's team. 5 quad one wins are tied for the most of any team that's not in the projected field, according to Joe Lenardi.
Also a team at NC State that Corey just had 33 points against, and they got a win on the road.
Rahosi dribbles into Corin. A.J. Rahosi in and out. Rebound Indrusaitis. Tough shooting start for both teams. Pitt 2 for 9. Stanford is 2 of 7.
I will tell you, Pitt is doing a phenomenal job. In particular, Minor staying attached. Staying attached to Corey each and every possession, denying him the ball back, making life very difficult for him.
Here's a pull-up 3. It's good. Ryan Agarwal, the struggling redshirt junior, snaps a stretch of 5 straight misses.
Reminds you of that time he made 5 threes against North Carolina. A guy that can heat up from the outside. There are other players on this Stanford team that can extend the floor from the three-point line.
What's Stanford doing well defensively early?
Well, I think they're just taking away, and they have to fight. I mean, this game comes down to possessions like this. Pittsburgh is going to try to grind you out, and also you got to keep Corin off the glass.
He only has 1 rebound so far. Cialeppa missed the last layup. He's 0 for 4. Donovan Young spins out a 3, rebounded by Rahosi. Agarwal just hit a 3. Back-to-back triples lead to a Pittsburgh timeout.
Well, if you're going to close out, you have to close out with a sense of urgency. Corin has the first closeout. He gets out there and then quits on the play. Here's the first one and just starts yelling. That's bailing on the play. Underwall knocking it down.
Stanford's 0 for 5 from inside the arc, 4 of 5 from outside it, and a 12-5 lead early for the 10th-seeded Cardinal. Stanford in the last 3 games, 37 of 79 from 3. That's 47%. So they have been hot coming in. And this guy, Jay, Abuko Corey, 0 for 1. He hasn't even scored yet.
You know what, though? One of the things you focus on with the Corey is paint touches. Because I believe not only is he the best finisher in college basketball at the rim, I said in the open, very Kyrie Irving-like finishes with both hands, with different Englishes at different angles of the glass. But also he's an elite playmaker. He can kick out for threes, and that's what Stanford's really good at, spot shooting from the perimeter.
Boy, is Indrusaitis, 6'5" sophomore, Iowa State transfer with his first 2. There's a Corey. Oh, that's out of bounds off of a Corey. Good hedge by Corin and a Stanford turnover.
Indrusaitis playing very much like Richie Saunders lately from BYU before he got hurt. A guy that can extend the floor, shooting 37% from the three-point line, averaging around 15.5 points per game over his last 5.
Saw the 16 against Syracuse Saturday. He had the last 2. A goaltending call against Syracuse's William Kyle was the game-winning bucket in OT. And Indrusaitis way deep here. Jeremy Dent-Smith, great scorer off the bench, has the ball.
Look how far up Minor is, just denying, making life incredibly difficult. If you're Jeff Capel, you're okay with that. You like the level of physicality. Minor is pinching up. He's pushing up into the pocket of Corey. He's staying attached, not losing any type of space here, staying connected. And also what they're doing is they're blitzing on every ball screen. The game should be physical for a guy like a Corey.
That's the first foul against Minor, only the second on Pitt. Right now, Corey gets a breather near the 12-minute timeout. Dent-Smith, really good shooter, is short on his first try. Rebound to Corin.
A good shooter for Dent-Smith, but you want him taking shots off the dribble instead of being a spot up, and that's exactly what the scouting report says.
Here's Witherspoon back on the floor. He gets a step around Oscar Hielte into Corin. Physical play with Kamen. kick 3 for Dunning is rounded out. Pitch is 3 for 14 from the field to start. Agarwal's hit a couple of threes already. Stanford a little unsettled. Try to wrap it into the paint, and Dunning is called for a foul on Hilte, the third on Pitt. Ebuka Okorie, tremendous scorer, has not put in a point yet, but that's okay. Stanford a 5-point lead. A little rim denial earlier from Donovan Young. The Cardinal lead by 5 in this physical game.
All season, you build. This week, you prove it.
Again! Just way too strong. Oh my!
Champion.
The top 4 seeds have a couple of days off before Thursday. Duke and North Carolina, the 1 and 4. Virginia, Miami, the 2 and the 3. All leads up to Saturday night's championship game, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, over on ESPN. Next game today, SMU-Syracuse, a must-win for SMU, which is right inside the projected bracket, according to Joe Minardi. Corin, denied, but fouled.
And that's where Pitt needs to get their offense. They need to get their offense off of their defense and attack in transition. This is a team that only averages 13 assists per game and 11 turnovers. So having a sense of urgency, getting hands, getting deflections and passing lanes, and then translating that to the offensive end is going to be critical.
Kamen went up and committed the foul. It's the second on Stanford's starting center. And Cam Corin hits the first free throw attempt for either team today. So Rahosi replaces Kamen. Okorie is back on the floor for Stanford as well, as Corin goes 2 for 2.
Right away, Minor is up, pressing, denial, trying to make life difficult. You want Okorie to see multiple blue jerseys, their chest, walling up.
Okorie spins around, and then his pass is deflected by Witherspoon.
There's that old saying my AAU coach used to say, one man can't beat 5, and if he does, shame on you. Okorie obviously can account for over 35 points per game when he gets going. You got to take him out of the ball game and make life difficult.
Good force Giller to throw that ball all the way in the backcourt. This is what they've done in this good stretch of late. But Okorie is fouled here.
And that's what happens. Look, if a ball screen comes up, if Corin isn't up early, Okorie is so shifty, he can beat you on angles, and he's one of the best in college basketball at splitting PNRs at the top of the key as well. So Corin now with another foul makes life difficult.
2 fouls on Corin. Again, Pitt is pretty much 6 deep. Kieran Mullen and Makari Moore get a couple of minutes here and there.
Good ball reversal.
Agarwal has already hit 2. Rebound Rahosi. His shot is tough. There were 3 Pitt players there. And here comes Minor out of the fray. Minor with a step back, thought about a 3. Okorie got in his face.
Actually had a chance to get Okorie on the foul. Okorie jumped into him. Could have been an easy foul.
Siolepa. First bucket of the game, and Pitt's within 1. The former Australian rules football player, a 6'6" bruiser from Brisbane. Okorie gives up the dribble again. Keeler an open 3. That will go. The 5th 3 for Stanford.
It's a poor closeout there by Pittsburgh. Ball rotated over. And didn't close out with their hands up, hands down, man down.
We're midway through the second half. First half. Stanford hasn't hit a 2 or a free throw and still leads, but there is Siolepa again with his physicality.
Is he a freight train or what?
You wouldn't be surprised to know he has a rugby background as well, would you? Minor knocked away from Okorie, his second turnover. Pitt not a team that likes to run. Playing this game at their pace in the half court. Andrositis rolling down to Cialepa.
Good read.
Witherspoon fouled, and he ties it with a chance to give Pitt its first lead at the line.
I'll tell you, Cialepa not only is making plays at the rim, but also doing a good job of actually turning and facing and seeing the play develop. Great job being poised and delivers a big-time bounce pass for an N1.
Pitt on Saturday at Syracuse was plus 10 in the paint. They've got an 8-0 advantage in the paint today, and with Witherspoon's conversion of the three-point play, the Panthers had their first lead. Akari Moore will check in for Minor, who has been working his absolute tail off defensively.
I remember watching Cialepa in the FIBA U19 World Championship last summer. Had 19 and 12, and just an absolute workhorse on the glass. You have to be here with physicality and attention 24/7 because he is constantly moving.
Corey's out of the game right now for Stanford. Rahosi in the paint. And Rahosi will be called for travel.
Once again, Cialepa staying down, staying disciplined, not biting for the head fake there, and just constantly shuffling his feet. Playing his tail off right now.
And Pitt J has nobody on the floor taller than 6'6", and they're still 8-0 in the paint.
He's got to put a body on somebody. You got to move people with the lower portion of your body instead of relying on your height.
3 straight makes for Pitt after a 3 for 14 start. Cialepa again going to work, and he'll get to the line. This is absolute bully ball from the lowest seeded team in this tournament.
Well, the one thing you love about Cialepa weighing 225 pounds, when you're going against a guy like Jalen Thompson who weighs 208 pounds, just bully him to the bucket. Take your time. Great job utilizing your reverse pivot foot there, and just go up through contact.
Cialepa is not a good free throw shooter, 48%, which is one fly in the ointment of a really good freshman year. Jeff Capel said maybe wearing down a little bit down the stretch, but he's had to play so much. He started every game for this shorthanded Pitt team. Remember, they're down a couple of big men. Deshaun Jackson was their 6'11" addition from Iowa State in the portal. He was not cleared by the school due to a medical condition, has dealt with a pre-existing heart condition. So he's never played for Pitt this year. They're also down a backup big in Papa Conte. That's a lot to put on Cialepa's broad shoulders. Keeler, Witherspoon all over him with 8 to shoot. Dent Smith, a low catch. Dent Smith finds space and misses a 3. It's grabbed by Young and a fresh 20.
Witherspoon got called watching the ball instead of boxing out, allows Stanford for that offensive rebound.
Jeremy Dent Smith stripped again by Dunning. 6 turnovers for Stanford. Witherspoon got Keeler on the blow-by, rimmed it out, and then Rahosi is going to be called for a second foul, trying to box out Cialepa. Physical Pitt Panthers, they've got the lead here early on. A 15 seed trying to take down a 10 in the ACC Tournament. Roman, Cialepa, and Pitt have rolled in front.
Luka Akori came into this game averaging 23 points per game, but DeMarco Minor has been exquisite the first 13 minutes of this game, and so has the collective committee of Pittsburgh, just staying attached to him 24/7 and being met with physicality multiple times, making him a passer. Akori is so elite at getting into the paint. Not once in the first 13 minutes of this game has Akori been able to get into that blue paint to create for himself at the rim.
Now, the first game against Pitt, he didn't hit his first field goal till the 5:32 mark of the first half. And as you noted, he erupted. He had 28 of his 34 in the second half. But Pitt so far is doing everything they need to do on Akori. They've been by far the more physical team. And now they lead by 4 on an Andrositis 3.
There's so much on the line, obviously, for both teams. But I said yesterday during our pre-production meeting, who is this team playing for? And if you think about Pitt right now, you're playing for your season, but you're also playing for your coach's job.
Minor. Dunning lays it up and in. Timeout, Stanford. The quickest that a Stanford person has moved today was Kyle Smith off his chair to take that timeout. It's a 10-0 Pitt run. Ten straight for Pitt, 16-3 run over the last 5.5 for the Panthers.
It's a great out-of-bounds play right here for Intrasitis to come up that little pin down. That's how you look for, and able to knock it down. And then once again, points off their defense, running out in transition. A great pass by Minor to Dunning for an elite finish at the rim. You just feel the sense of urgency with how Pitt is defending and how they're translating their defense into offense.
Okori defended by the senior Minor again. Abuko Okori doesn't turn 19 until April. Trying to go to work here. Bounces one to Young. Met resistance from Cialepa and still finished to snap the 10-0 run. That's the first 2-point bucket of the game. It took nearly 13 minutes for Stanford to score inside the arc.
Stanford switching to his zone here.
Cialepa 3. Rebound, tip down to Gieler. Okori in the corner right now. Minor's been the man. He guards Okori, who is cut off from the paint to the delight of the Pitt bench. Okori doesn't want to screen, wants to do it himself. Wrapping his way inside. A very tough shot is knocked away back to Gieler. That was Okori's first shot in almost 10 minutes of game time.
The fourth offensive rebound for Stanford, getting multiple shots at possessions.
Gieler, no. Rebound down to Pitt and Witherspoon. There's Dunning down the floor. Again, this is all with Corin on the bench with 2 fouls. Cialepa met with resistance and another foul. The 7th in the half on Stanford. Well, coming up next, our Nothing But Net crew is on site. There they are, Jim Boeheim and company. Joel Berry, Luke Hancock, Carlos Boozer's got the Duke gear on. Taylor Tannenbaum leading our motley crew. Complete breakdown of the game at the half and post-game highlights, analysis, and interviews with coaches and players. We have the most decorated ACC crew you could ever want, as Indrasitis is limping to the bench right now, and Jeff Capel is going to get a substitute in for Noyes Indrasitis. Bakari Moore will come back in after Indrasitis went into heel tape.
Yeah, it seems right there. That right lower thigh right above the knee. A contusion. Those things sting. A guy that's so critical to this team, provides him with another ball handler, another elite shooter from the outside, really coming to his own the last 4 to 5 games.
Cialepa, 48% free throw shooter, missed his first pair, hits his next 2. He's right on line. Largest lead for Pitt, 23-17. Hilte looking for a backdoor cut, tough catch for Okori, and he did well to just throw it out of bounds off of Moore.
Did you see how fast Moore came from the weak side, considering Minor got beat on that backboard cut? And that's what you love about a team playing collectively together. Smart IQ play right there by Okori to knock the ball out on him.
Jeff Capel singled out Moore and Kieran Mullen for playing really good spot minutes at Syracuse. And finally, at the 5:49 mark of the first half, Okori gets on the board.
He is just relentless, his ability to finish at the rim. Minor was all over the side, but still just used that stronger upper body frame to get him riding up the lane a little bit to finish at the rim. Stanford going into a zone. Pitt shooting 33% from the three-point line. You can't settle. You have the advantage inside. You got to continue to attack.
They are not a good three-point shooting team on the year. Witherspoon misses a turnaround. There's Benny Gieler. Kyle Smith calls out a play, and Okori comes to collect the ball.
And Minor and Okori are talking to each other nonstop. Okori's actually creating contact first.
Okori going to use his screen. Hard hedge came. Thompson was open for a minute. Young didn't see him. Now inside to Hilte. who scores his first basket in the last 3 games.
Smart job by Hilte using the rim as a shield. Getting to the opposite side of it, finishing.
6'10" freshman from Belgium had only 4 points in the last 8 games. Minor. Hilte steps up onto the point guard, Minor, whose 3 is grabbed by Witherspoon. Moore swings it. Minor fakes it. Takes it. Missed it.
Should have shot the first one.
3 straight buckets in the paint for Stanford. Minor came flying out to deny that handoff from Thompson. Pretty amazing energy for Minor, who became a new father, by the way, 3 weeks ago. Jeff Capel said he's been better on the road. He's getting some sleep. And Gieler, with a tough 2, ties it for Stanford. 6 straight for the Cardinal to answer that long Pittsburgh run. Moore. Cialepa into the corner for Witherspoon. Stanford flying around in the zone. 3 to shoot it. Witherspoon does!
Witherspoon with a really good change of speed right there. Shot clock dwindling down. Able to get Hilte a little bit on his toes and use the baseline as a driving mechanism.
Gieler pulls up. Bricks a 3. Rebound Witherspoon.
You know, the last 2 shots by Gieler, I know he made the first, but still the degree of difficulty was about a 10. You want him taking those types of shots if you're Pitt.
Witherspoon, step back 3. Barely grazed the rim. Cialepa's there again, and Cialepa turns away from Thompson for a flush.
Do you think that rugby background is coming into play?
4 rebounds, all offensive for Cialepa. These teams are gassed. We haven't even hit the 4-minute timeout yet at 2:20. Thompson 3, that's way short. Witherspoon's got the rebound for Pitt.
Quality of possession right now. If you're Pitt, you don't want to settle.
Cialepa, that's a 3. Is that a settle to you?
I just, you know, when they get so many points down low in the paint, and he's been so good at using that strong upper body frame to attack, why stop doing it?
Thompson, another 3. Boy, the last 2 have not looked good out of his hand. And Minor and Pitt is trying to catch their breath. We still have not had a stoppage. We're waiting for that 4-minute media timeout. And we're into the final 90 seconds of the half without it. Here's DeMarco Minor. Controlled the game without scoring. Now he's 0 for 4. Here's Okori. A rare chance to run. Not quite. Knocked into Witherspoon. 7 Stanford turnover. Minor again flying by Thompson. Finding more. Left it short. Tipped in by Cialepa.
Once again, when your legs are heavy, when you're breathing heavy, you don't settle for long 3s. You continue to attack. And where Pittsburgh has the advantage is with their size on the block to get offensive rebounds and continue to get tips.
We have been playing for at least 4 minutes without a stoppage. We still haven't hit the immediate timeout. Will we hit it? Okori, it's not taken away by Witherspoon or by Moore. Now
Look at the amount of
Thompson
deflections. I mean, the amount of deflections that Pittsburgh is getting on the defensive end is just incredible. They're so active, constant communication, and staying attached to Okori the whole time.
What happens if we don't hit the 4-minute media timeout? The question for our colleagues in the truck to figure out, I guess. Pitt can hold for the last shot. This never-ending run here in the half to Dunning. Bobbles it, drives it. Dunning finishes before the horn. The Pitt Panthers take their largest lead of the game into halftime. an 8-0 run for a Pitt team that is absolutely knackered.
And if you're Pitt, this is exactly the same style of basketball that you want to play. You want it to be a game that is gritty and grind and low possessions.
That's exactly what it's been for the lowest seeded team in this tournament. Playing like bullies. It's been a Roman Empire in the paint with Aleppo and the Panthers up by 8. Taylor and the nothing but net crew on the other side of this break here in Charlotte. Price ACC Men's Basketball Tournament. Our first game of 14 over 5 days. The 15 seed Pitt leads the 10 seed Stanford by 8, ending the half on an 8-0 run. Kevin Brown, Jay Williams back with you. We're quickly going to get to our good hands play brought to you by Allstate because it's been great hands defensively for Pitt.
I'll tell you what, DeMarco Minor has been next level play here in the first half. Played 19 minutes and held the ACC's leading scorer to 17 minutes, 3 shots, 2 assists, and 3 turnovers. And one of the most incredible parts about the way Pittsburgh has played is they've played without fouling. And their leading scorer in Corin has been on the bench with 2 fouls. They've dominated in the paint, and it starts with Aleppo right here. Just look, 8 points, getting them the physicality, 18-6 with paint points, second chance points, 10-3. The pace, the rhythm, everything in the first half has been perfect execution by the Pittsburgh Panthers.
All 4 of Aleppo's rebounds offensive. You mentioned the plus 12 disparity. And think about this too. Stanford, for the first time all season, has gone a half without attempting a single free throw. So many of Corey's points, Jay, don't just come in the paint from 3. He gets to the line. How can Stanford get him open? How can they get to the free throw line?
They need to get more stuff with him in transition. When everything's settled in the half court, Pittsburgh is doing a really good job of walling up where Corey's able to see multiple bodies. So getting stuff opening up in transition helps him find a rhythm, and then he'll take care of the rest.
We had a game that did not have a stoppage for the final 6 minutes, 10 seconds of the first half. And that worked for Pitt, the 15 seed, leading by 8. Remember, Stanford must win this game and probably at least one more to get to the tournament. That's a good start. A paint touch and a bucket for A.J. Rahosi. According to ESPN Analytics, with the win, Stanford is right at 50-50 to make the tournament with their 5 quad 1 wins. With a loss, it's down to 22%. And you have to imagine there's a good chance of some quote-unquote bid thieves along the way here at Champ Week. Cam Corin, who again didn't play the final 11 minutes of the half, puts in 2.
When Stanford went to that zone in the first half, Pittsburgh lacked having a player outside of Aleppo that can turn face and make a play. Corin is a guy that can catch the ball in the middle of that zone, can be a reader and a scorer.
Stanford with Thompson, Rahosi, Kamen, Geeler, and Okori starting 5 on the floor. Geeler gets a clean look. Doesn't miss it. 3 for 4 from deep for the second best 3-point shooter in the ACC.
If you're going to double the post, you need to be aware at all times on where Geeler is, a 41% 3-point shooter.
First Stanford player in double figures. Aleppo puts it on the ground into Rahosi. Rahosi trying to hold strong. Aleppo finishes anyway.
Just playing bully basketball. My friends in Jersey would call it, this is prison basketball right here. Just relentless. And great job by maintaining that pivot foot. Watching from here, I thought it was more travel, but Aleppo doing a really good job. That pivot foot staying down and finishing.
Played in Australia with Lamar Patterson, who was a wonderful Pitt player, 2009-14. That's how he got on Pitt's radar. Again, has that rugby background, and he has used the lower body strength decisively today. This time, Kamen goes into Aleppo for his first 2.
Well, good job by Kamen creating contact first, knocking Aleppo off his block a little bit. That's how you have to beat him. You have to initiate contact first.
35-30 for the 15th seed Pitt. And a foul away from the action. That's going to go against Okori, just his first. Rahosi picked up the last foul. It was his 3rd. And now he'll come out of the game for Oscar Hiltig.
I just don't know if people at home know how hard it is to do what DeMarco Minor's doing right now against the ACC's leading scorer, a guy averaging 23 points a game. The consistency and the level of effort that you need to give to stay attached and not lose a guy like a Corey, the ability to do that for 40 minutes throughout the course of the game, let alone 20 minutes, is just outstanding.
Warren inside for 2 more. These teams have started the half 6 for 6. Once again, they have a hard time getting it to Okori. He gives it up to Kamen. Driving, handing it off for Hielte. Four points for Hielte have matched his total over his last 8. Stanford finding ways to score without Okori early in the half. Amari Witherspoon in a terrific first half. 5 points, good all-around play. Nice jumper there. Teams are 8 for 8, Jay, in the second half. What's gotten into this game?
We finally got some scoring.
Okori. And a late whistle is called as Okori will take the first Stanford free throws today.
He's just such a prolific scorer. It's a matter of time before he figures it out. I said earlier, one of the best finishers in college basketball at the rim. But he's being met by multiple blue jerseys. The physicality has only kept him to 3 paint trips in the first half. This is a guy that gets to that blue spot of the court right there at the ACC 40 to 50 times a game. Held to 3 in the first half.
Foul was Minor's second. Okori hits the free throw despite the presence of the really loud guys singing the Goo Goo Dolls behind us. Not sure how that didn't throw him off. This is some list to be on. Duke, and Duke. Freshman 30-point games in ACC history. Ibuka's got 7. He came into today ahead of R.J. Barrett's ACC freshman record. R.J. 22.5 in 2018-19. Ibuka's at 23.1. And now he has his 3rd and 4th points of the game.
It also averages around 7.5 free throw attempts per game. Does a really good job of combining both scoring and getting to the line. But with 2 thus far today.
Witherspoon powering his way in, long steps, left it short. Rebound Thompson. Corey will take the controls here. Screen from Kamen. Okori rolls around it. Got CLF on the switch for a moment. Keeler passes up an open 3. Misses another 3. It's tipped to Kamen. Okori doesn't trigger a deep one. Drives again. That's a tough finish. That's more like it for Ibuka Okori, who's got the last 4.
Well, Okori 6'2", can just extend that ball over the smaller Minor at 6 foot.
6'2" with about a 6'7" wingspan as well. Koren on the drive. Stripped by Okori. That ball will stay with Pitt.
You know, Okori has a 6'7" wingspan, and you're going to see him just extend the ball over this smaller Minor. He extends it up higher. Minor can't do anything about it. And this is the type of shot-making ability at the rim that has NBA scouts super excited about what this player can be at the next level.
Hielte with a smothering rejection. 39-36. Stanford has cut an 8-point halftime lead down to 3. Must-win game for Stanford here. It's a must-win game for SMU next. The 11 seed of the ACC, led by second-team All-ACC player SMU and Syracuse. 11 versus the 14 to follow us here on ACC Network. 3 games today. Stanford, SMU, and Virginia Tech are all either in the last 4 in or the first 4 out, according to Joe Lunardi. Figures there is no margin for error left for any of those 3 teams. Virginia Tech will end the night with Wake Forest at 7 Eastern here on ACC Network.
SMU losers of 4 in a row without B.J. Edwards, needing to get a desperate game to stay on the right side of the bubble.
Minor with 5 to shoot, throws it into Witherspoon. Good hands, and the first steal of the game for Stanford. It's Okori who's got it. And Pitt again gets back in transition.
You know, Pitt has been doing a really good job up to this point of controlling the pace of the game. Stanford has 0 fast break points and 0 points off Pitt's 3 turnovers.
Knocked away by Minor from Okori, a deflection. Okori walks it up with 7 to shoot. Driving it on Minor, left-handed finish, puts the Cardinal within 1.
Well, look, if Stanford is going to go 1-4 flat, if you're Minor, you can't play him parallel to the baseline. You got to force him one direction. He's too good of a player to allow him to go either way.
Now Minor slipping it through, somehow found Corin, denied again by Hielte. 3 blocks for the Belgian freshman. Across the way, Minor. Wheeler's all over him, 5 to shoot it. Minor taking his time, gotta get it up, and gets it home. A Minor delivery for the first bucket for the graduate student from Chicago.
How long have you been waiting to utilize that line?
0 seconds.
Not a major delivery, a Minor.
Here's Young. There's a major putback by Hielte. How about the minutes, Jay, from Oscar Hielte?
So Stanford just doing a better job of attacking the glass. We said how the paint points were 18-6 in the first half. Now they're dead even.
Hielte had not scored in 6 of the last 8. He's got 6 big points off the bench, and Stanford's back within 1. Witherspoon trying to feed Corin. Hielte defending. Corin settles for a jumper. Time since Stanford had the lead. Young from Okori is fouled. Second foul on Barry Dunning.
I said earlier, if you go 1-4 flat right here, he's so good at changing speeds. He gets you on his right side, and look how he doesn't extend that elbow, just dips that shoulder into Minor's chest and creates some room for him to finish with the left. And then this is mouse-on-mouse basketball. I love when I see smaller players start taking other smaller players to the post and shooting over the top.
Minor over 1,580 career Division I points with his first 2 today. 6 to shoot it. Dent Smith off the bench. Jeremy Dent Smith gives Stanford the lead for the first time since 15-13. A 10-2 Stanford surge over the last 4 minutes or so for the Cardinal, fighting for their bubble lives. Noyosindrositis off the bench for the first time this half. Into Corin, turned it over. Good minutes for Young, who has the takeaway. Better pick up Okori. They don't. He made them pay. And a pit timeout as Okori finally got free.
If you're going to stop Ibuka Okori, you better meet him early. Early is the half-court line. If he comes down and your hands are down, that thing's going to be a bucket. The one thing you can't do with Okori is give him space. If you give him space, he's able to freeze it. He's able to go either way he wants. Look at this space right here by Indrositis. It allows him to go right or he can go left. Either way, let it play. And it's a play to freeze it again. If you're going to guard him, you have to meet him early. And if you're going to meet him, your hands have to be up. Dictate, force him which way you want him to go by having your hand up, hand down, man down. Okori's so good at recognizing what he wants to do with that space, and he is a bucket getter. Can't allow him to get going offensively.
It's a 13-2 run for Stanford. Jay Okori has 9 of the 13 in the run. Stanford, which was down as many as 8 to start the half, is up by 4. Winner to the second round in NC State. There's a good answer for Pitt and Corin.
Really good play out of a timeout by Jeff Capel. They get a slip right there by Corin. Corin hasn't been able to get it going offensively for a while.
Okori met by Minor, and Okori lost it out of bounds. He thinks it was deflected. The officiating crew does not agree, and Kyle Smith is not inclined to challenge.
Well, he was met by multiple bodies. Look, Corin was there, and also he had help from the weak side. Yeah, that was off of Corin.
Dunning came from behind, but last off of Okori. Corin with 10. Corin and Cialepa each with 10 for Pitt. Corey and Gieler with 11 for Stanford. Good slip. Corin feeds Witherspoon to tie the game. Underrated passer, Cameron Corin for Pitt. Jeff Capel loves the way he's developed his all-around game in his final year. Donovan Young will isolate on Cialeppa. Dent Smith flying through the lane, met by Cialeppa, who grabs a loose ball. Down the floor for Dunning. To the basket with a shot fake. 6 straight for Pitt. And a furious Kyle Smith, as red as the Stanford tree, takes a timeout at the half-court logo. It was all rolling for Stanford, a 13-2 run until a Jeff Capel timeout, and 6 straight for the slippin' Pitt Panthers, fighting for their season, fighting for their careers. Pitt's trip to the ACC Tournament was uncertain for a while. They had to win on the last day of the season to get in. They played really well down the stretch for Jeff Capel. Look, this is a season that's been derailed by Deshaun Jackson not being cleared. Brandon Cummings, their leading scorer much of the year, hurt. Papa Conte hurt. Pete Nakos of On3 reported a couple of days ago, sources have indicated that Pitt boosters have worked to put together money for a potential buyout. Jeff Capel signed through 2030. So, Jay, Pitt is playing for just more than their seasons. They may be playing for their head coach here. Yeah, you could tell the sense of urgency and how they're playing. As Agarwal knocks down another 3, has been really critical for this team. You know, with some difficult losses throughout the course of the regular season. Quinnipiac, Hofstra, they got blown out by West Virginia. Yeah, but they also have some big wins. Wins over Ohio State, win over Penn State. And also a top 15 recruiting class next year, led by a guy named Chase Foster, one of the best power forwards in the nation. So a lot on the line for not only this team, but classes to come. Dent Smith knocks it away from Corin. Stanford back up 1 after the 3rd 3 by Ryan Agarwal. And his shooters. Jeremy Dent Smith with a break. Rebound by Minor. Pitt has made just 2 substitutions in the half. Makari Moore just went to the table to be a 3rd. Cialeppa downhill to give the Panthers the lead. In order for Stanford to win this game, they're going to have to draw a line in the sand when it comes to paint points. Pitt is just having their way with them in that blue area at will. Stanford without Okori right now. Touch for Rahosi. Limited in the half to foul trouble. Knocked away from Dent Smith. Minor's on the ground and takes it away. Dunning had Witherspoon for a moment. Keeler got in his grill. Now Dent Smith hits the deck to reclaim possession. Roman Cialeppa's got to feel like he's right at home here. This is what I do. The ACC Rugby Tournament. Rahosi lost his dribble, nowhere to go, but the basket! Well, look what I found. The former Division III All-American, A.J. Rahosi, and Stanford's on top again. Rahosi just remaining patient. Corin went to the high side, not really thinking about protecting the rim there. Rahosi just finding the rim after being patient, not turning the ball over with Minor coming down to dig down, and gets a big-time and 1. It's DeMarco Minor's 3rd foul, and he will exit with those 3. Moore replaces him. You know, scouting report for a guy like Corin, you want Rahosi to finish over that right shoulder. He loves to go over the left shoulder. His attention to detail and the execution of scouting report that ultimately determines whether you win or lose games down the stretch. This free throw by Rahosi, who is 36% foul shooting. So Stanford by 1, 9:20 to go. Winner gets NC State tomorrow at noon. Stanford needs to win to keep its NCAA tournament hopes alive. As Cialeppa rolls right into Rahosi, and it's a defensive foul, the 4th against A.J. Rahosi. Stanford going to that zone. The best way to meet a zone is to have one of your bigs splash from the weak side, catch the ball, turn and face, look for that high-low pass, or put the ball on the ground for a drive. So Rahosi, with his jersey number matching his foul number, will check out. Look at the bruises on A.J. Rahosi as he leaves the court. This has been nasty. Yeah, man, it's a rugby match. By the way, the versatility for Pitt when Stanford goes to that zone, Cialeppa
or Corn, both of those guys have the ability to put the ball down on the ground and make a play.
Cialepa's bleeding. There's blood on the front of Rahosi's jersey. Let's take a look at our star stories for players that have been crushing it of late. Brought to you by Crush while we have a bloody moment. Cialepa all over the offensive boards. Okori's come alive in the second half. He is back in the game now. 9 of his 11 since the break. And right now, Okori not have to worry about Minor guarding him. He's on the bench with 3 fouls.
Minor getting a rest because of Corey, you know, is being able to get a little bit of a rest here, but still trust Minor's going to come in with anywhere under 7 to play more big minutes on the Corey.
Corin follows up the block shot with a 3-point opportunity.
Offensive rebounds, paint points, and the free throw line is how Pittsburgh has a 1-point lead in this game. As multiple players come over from the weak side to try to block the shot. He gets it up on the rim. Nobody boxes out Corn. Gets an and 1 opportunity.
Or not. Lane violation. So there will be no and 1 opportunity.
Just don't know what Dunning Jr. was doing there. That was in the hands of Corn at the free throw line. Don't know why he left the box.
Well, I'll cut him a little bit of slack in that he literally hasn't subbed out of the game. Barry Dunning Jr.
Conditioning's part of it.
Okori fakes more. No good for 3. Rebound Cialepa. Roman Cialepa rolling down a hill. Stripped away to Witherspoon. Under 8.5 to go. Witherspoon's got the big Kamen on him. And he could do nothing with that matchup. Cialepa downhill driver fouled. Got chucked out of the way. That's 5.5 on Stanford. And it's Agarwal's first. Look at how Cialepa is laboring here, working up a major sweat. I mean, he has been on the floor. He's been rolling into bodies. It's been an amazing effort.
Just in a relentless attack mode.
Pitts only played 7 today as well, Jay. Cialepa, Moore fakes it 3. Moore blocked by Okori. Moore blocked again. Corin fouled. They just don't stop.
Every 50-50 ball Pittsburgh is getting right now. And they're just living on the offensive glass. Good block by Okori. He gets the ball up. Another block, but still, it's 50-50 ball. Stanford has to retrieve those.
Second foul on Okori. Pitt will be in the bonus the rest of the half.
There should be no white jersey. If you're Coach Smith, no white jersey should be watching the action going on in the paint. Every white jersey should be in the paint, fighting and scrapping for those 50-50 balls.
And that was better for Stanford as Young tied up Corin. Pitt will keep it on the arrow. .17 to shoot. Witherspoon driving again. Foul line jumper. That's good. Omari Witherspoon, the freshman from Bowie, Maryland, with 9. Now make it 11. And Pitt leads by 3. Okori's pass deflected by Moore. Back to Ibuka. Long range. Pitt's gotten away with a couple of those.
Look at this. Look at this.
Barry Dunning flies down the floor. Another timeout taken by Kyle Smith. A 5-point Pitt lead. Another 6-0 Panther run.
And this game comes down to will and determination. Pittsburgh just playing with more fight right now as both teams are fighting for their lives.
Men's tickets punch to the field of 68 include Queens winning the A-Sun in its first eligible year. High Point, which is a live sleeper out of the Big South. And congratulations to the Long Island Sharks. Fins up! LIU has already clinched the NEC automatic berth because they're playing Mercyhurst, who's still transitioning up to D1. We'll punch the ACC ticket Saturday night at 8:30. Pitt and Stanford in the opening game of the tournament. The Panthers are on their 5th run of 6-0 or more today. They have bruised and battered the Cardinal in the paint. 38 paint points, and Stanford, out of a timeout, turns it over.
Well, so much of this game has been about identity for Pitt on the defensive and offensive end. They have not attempted a 3 in the second half. And out of their 24 made field goals, 14 have been layups or dunks.
Know your identity and execute it, I guess.
Know yourself.
12 for 20 in the half.
You know who sings that song?
What's
Know
that?
Yourself? This is a cultural moment for you. Let's see if you can.
Know yourself?
Know yourself.
Oh, that's Love Yourself by Justin Bieber.
It's not. Unbelievable.
Express Yourself. Madonna.
Please stop. Okay.
Dunning 3. There's the first 3 in the half for Pitt. Rebounded by Corin. Into Cialeppa.
What strong hands of Corey break down on that ball. But Cialeppa with that rugby finish and frame just couldn't get the ball out of his hands.
8 in a row for Pittsburgh. Cialeppa with 14 and 6. Pitt is +8 on the glass in the second half. Rahosi playing with 4 fouls. That's a good finish.
Rahosi with a grown man finish.
Stanford has been here before. They trailed Pitt by 6. 5.5 to go just a couple of weeks ago on February 25th. Closed that game with an 18-4 run in Palo Alto.
Good
Dunning.
play. Good block.
Young with a rejection. And here comes Geeler out of the fray. Benny Geeler, Rahosi, fouled by Corin, and he'll shoot 2. The 3rd foul on Corin. It's not a bad one given Rahosi's struggles, but Stanford had a rare chance to run.
Well, big-time play against the zone, and an even more big-time block by Young coming from the weak side. Just wiping it away, and then Stanford in transition. Geeler recognizing that Rahosi's right there for a finish, and now 2 free throws to cut into this lead.
Well, Donovan Young, who had that last block, has been up to the challenge in the paint. Not a lot of folks have on Stanford. He's got 4 blocks and given them 23 big minutes. Rahosi, 36%, hit the first. And puts in the second. 24 for 68 on the year, and he drains both. 3-point game, 6 to play. Stanford, the second team out of Joe Lunardi's projected field.
Stanford with 16 fouls. If you're Pitt, you want to continue to attack the paint, get to the free throw line. Stanford has to play without fouling.
They do there. It's now a Pitt foul. And that's the 4th foul on Cameron Corin with 5:41 to go. Hey, this weekend right here on ACC Network, huge baseball series coming on. Georgia Tech and Clemson, the 4th and 11th ranked teams in the country. Thursday and Friday night, 7 and 8 Eastern, ACC Network. Saturday afternoon, ACC Network Extra. Yellow Jackets and the Tigers.
Just still blown away that you went with Madonna and Justin Bieber as your know yourself references.
NWA.
All right, that feels more culturally on point here. What a move.
Oh, what a finish. Rahosi taking over. He's got 10. Stanford's on a 6-0 run.
The D3 transfer is doing his thing.
Liner back on the floor. Corin is off it with the 4 fouls. Once again.
I miss Cialeppa down low. He had a great post position.
Cialeppa takes a 3. Young comes over to defend. Dunning the offensive rebound and stick back. 13 for Dunning, one of 4 Pitt players in double figures. Here's a Corey who has been scoreless since the 12:59 mark. Rahosi. He's got the last 8 for Stanford. Kicks to Thompson. And Rahosi got held and fouled. That'll be the third on Barry Dunning Jr., only the fifth on Pitt.
Rahosi just really taking his time, getting to his spots right there, utilizing multiple ball fakes and finishing it. And then, like we stated before, Pitt just staying relentless on the offensive glass. Dunning able to get the rebound and finish strong.
Actually, the sixth foul on Pitt, so Stanford will shoot free throws the rest of the way. Both teams in the bonus. Okori, Rahosi, three Pitt players there to knock it out of the sky. It was Moore, the freshman, who's been awesome on the tail end of it.
Big time pass by Corey, and just three Pitt players got their hands all over that.
Rahosi again, one-on-one with Cialepa. A.J. Rahosi wouldn't go. Witherspoon the rebound with 4:15 to play.
You would think down the stretch you're going to see a lot more of a Corey with a high ball screen. What I mean by high is around half court. Opens up a lot of the court for him to make do with more space to operate.
Corey guarding Witherspoon. Under 4 to play. The 15 seed Pitt in front. Corey swipes it away. Miner grabs it with 3 to shoot. Miner's got to put it up. Steps inside. Drew the iron. Rebounded by Gieler. Corey comes up to get it. The leading scorer in the ACC, Ebuka Okori, again passes out of a double. Gieler was wide open for 3. Couldn't get it to him. Thompson now late in the shot clock. It's Thompson off the window to bring Stanford within 1.
Rahosi has to catch the ball, turn and face, and look opposite right away. Gieler was wide open. But Thompson with the bailout bucket. It counts. It's good. Play on.
A little late zone here for Stanford, it looks like.
Well, they've been changing up zone and man-to-man throughout the entire ball game.
8 to shoot. Witherspoon. Miner in the corner. No. And here comes Gieler. Stanford down a point. Next stoppage will lead us to our final media timeout.
Here comes that high ball screen. Dive, slip.
Have not been able to get anything out of that pick and roll. Young spinning. Young, no! And Thompson crashed the glass and knocked it out of bounds. It's Pitt ball. It's a 1-point lead. Stanford's NCAA tournament life is on the line in Charlotte. The T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Tournament is brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Tournament bracket. Stanford on the bubble. SMU's on the bubble. They'll play Syracuse after we're done. Virginia Tech's on the bubble. They'll play Wake Forest. And then it'll be NC State in the winner of this game to start us off tomorrow, all leading to Saturday's title game. What's at stake for Stanford? They are the second team out of Joe Lunardi's projected field. You might want to wake up for these final 2:24 because they're the most important 2 minutes, 24 seconds in Stanford season.
At some point, I know Okori keeps making the right play because they're blitzing him on those ball screens. They can always screen, re-screen. He's going to have to take this game over offensively down the stretch.
Very deferential, hasn't he?
Yes.
Hasn't scored since 12:59. He's on defense now.
Good dig down.
Knocked away from Cialepa. Stanford with a takeaway. Gieler will pull it out to Okori.
And this is where I would screen and re-screen.
Here comes the first screen from Rahosi. Not much of a screen at all.
Okori turn, and they're playing right into what Pittsburgh wants to do. All Rahosi has to do is turn face opposite, and he has Gieler wide open in the corner.
Young digging his way in for 2 and a Stanford lead with 1:40 to go. 7 lead changes this half and a 10-2 Stanford run with 90 seconds to go. Just 2 points in the last 5 minutes for Pitt. Corin back on the floor. Screens for Miner. On the roll, Corin. Long 2 is short. Rebounded by Cialepa. In the middle of 3 Stanford players. He gets it off the back rim. Tipped out to Witherspoon.
Good rip through.
Dunning for three. Yes! Pittsburgh has the lead on the first Panther three of the second half. The senior Barry Dunning Jr. playing for his fourth team in 4 years with the biggest shot of Pitt's season.
Well, what a big time rip over, not rip through, rip over by Witherspoon on a Corey. Young has to help. And Dunning right there, hands ready, a 34% three-point shooter. Hands ready to knock down the biggest three-pointer of the game thus far.
Pitt has grabbed 18 offensive rebounds, leading to 23 second chance points. A relentless display of toughness for these Pitt Panthers, who were down and out multiple times this year and are trying to fight to keep their season alive for a battle with NC State tomorrow. Officials are checking the clock here, which is at the 1 minute mark. It'll be Stanford ball, down by 2. Dunning leads the way with 16 for Pitt, and now for Stanford, what's the message from Kyle Smith?
Well, I think you have to keep the ball in Corey's hands to make a play. When you pass the ball to Rossi, you're actually playing into what Pittsburgh wants you to do. Rossi, not known to be a playmaker, he's going to look to try to attack. Gieler's been wide open in the corner. Every time Rossi has caught the ball in the middle third of the court, all he has to do is turn and face and kick opposite. But I like the ball being in the hands of Corey down the stretch. He's a guy that can make plays. I still go back to the screen and re-screen to try to get him to turn the corner.
Corey hasn't taken a shot, Jay, since the 7:34. That was a missed three. Remember, he was the closer against Pitt on February the 25th. Stanford ended that game on an 18-4 run, but they have not shown that same propensity today.
And I get it. You know, it's a conversation you hear a lot of times around LeBron James earlier in his career, right? Making the right play. And Corey is really good at making the right play and actually taking what the defense is giving him. But sometimes, as an elite player down the stretch and these type of moments, you have to make the action happen. And that's where I go back to the screen and the re-screen. They have not done that yet this entire ballgame.
Well, when we're done here, we're going to toss it over to Taylor Tannenbaum, the Nothing But Net crew. Luke Hancock, Joel Berry, Jim Boeheim. And then Wes Durham's hanging out with them. Dennis Scott, Debbie Antonelli. They'll have the call of SMU Syracuse at 4:30. Hi, Luke. They'll break down the game with highlights, analysis, and interviews. And then we send it to Wes, Debbie, in 3D for SMU Syracuse. All right, 58.6 now. So a little over a second's been taken off the clock. Corey, who's been playing part of the second half with a bloody lip, has faced a relentless defensive effort from DeMarco Minor, who picks him up at half court. Will it be the final minute of Stanford's season? Corey got bumped by Minor off his position again. And Minor just smothers it. It's Gieler trying to initiate. Benny Gieler. Agarwal. 10 to shoot for Gieler. A deep three. Way too deep. Loose ball grabbed by Dunning. Got a foul here? They will, and it's going to be a 1-and-1 for Witherspoon at 64%.
Corey could not get the ball. I cannot stress enough how incredible of a job DeMarco Minor has done on Corey, just denying him the ball down the stretch. He's been doing it the entire game. It's just the level of physicality, staying in his pocket, now allowing him to get the ball back. And just you can't stop on the play like that if you're a Corey. You got to go get it.
Witherspoon just 64%. The freshman from Bowie, Maryland. Misses the 1-and-1 and gets his rebound. He's tied up and Stanford has the arrow.
Stanford able to dodge a bullet there. Nobody tagging the free throw shooter, the most important person to box out off a free throw. They pinch down on both sides. Everybody standing watching the ball. He got away with him there.
They just have not matched Pitt's intensity. They haven't matched their energy, and yet they're only down 2 with 31.2 to go. Stanford's going to take its final timeout. So 31.2 seconds to go for Stanford. And again, the stakes are pretty clear. Stanford has 5 quad 1 wins, but 3 quad 3 losses. They don't have the resume if they lose this game, Jay, to make it to the NCAA tournament. And now they've got to find something on this last possession.
Yeah, you got to think 16 fouls for Pittsburgh. Next foul, they're in the 1-on-1. You get something going to the basket. And I think Kyle Smith is really good at drawing up plays like this. But I go back to the job that DeMarco Minor has done in this entire ball game. He's pressing up the level of physicality. He's forcing Okori to play east to west instead of playing north to south. And Okori's so good if you give him that space. What did we talk about earlier in the game? The space. Minor has been gobbling up that space, so I think a screen needs to come up higher. They're setting the screen so low, a screen needs to be higher towards half court to at least allow Okori to turn the corner and try to get some downhill speed towards the rim.
I mean, for Stanford, it's been this unholy combination of they're not screening well for him. He's not, as you noted, fighting to get open, and Pitt is not allowing him space. Can that all change in the last 31 seconds? I guess it can.
Yes.
Stanford's got to find it out because they are almost out of time.
When you have one of the most prolific scorers, not only in the ACC, but in the country, anything is possible down the stretch. And also you have players that are good at being catch and ready shooters on the perimeter as well to play off the dribble penetration.
Interestingly, Stanford's made a couple of subs here for the final 31 seconds. Kamen and Dent Smith are in. Rahosi and Agarwal are out. And here he is, the first team All-ACC player.
Set it high, set it high. There you go, that's where you have to turn the corner.
Okori fouled and he finishes! Would you look at that? One free throw for the lead with 26 ticks to go.
What happens when you set the screen a little bit higher? It allows him to turn the corner. And by the way, Minor's been doing an elite job on him an entire game, but didn't force him one way. He played parallel. You can't play him parallel with your butt to the baseline. You have to dictate which way you want him to go. When you allow so, that thing is on a string, and now we have an and one opportunity with a tie ball game with 26.2 seconds left in the game.
It also was the 5th foul on Cam Corrin. It wasn't a ton of contact, but it was enough for the officials. And Corrin, who's played over 120 career games, his 124th, has fouled out. Will it be his final game? He is pondering that possibility as Okori gives Stanford the lead. Pitt will use its final timeout with 23 seconds to go. The 9th lead change of the half. Ibuka Okori's first points in 12 and a half minutes. Cameron Corrin off the floor, and Pitt with the ball down by 1.
You got to think Cialipa has been so good at catching the ball around the free throw line extended, putting the ball on the ground and making a play, especially with Corrin fouled out. He's been relentless with getting to the paint. Down 1, you got to get something going to the paint. And we're going to watch the last play. Minor, freeze it right there. Freeze it, freeze it. Look, the butt is to the baseline. When your butt is to the baseline, I can go this way or I can go this way. You're giving him duality. You do not want that. And that screen comes up high. Look at him turn the corner right there. Boom, he's gone. And there's nothing that Corrin can do. Your hands are up, but still he's so good at drawing contact and finishing at the rim. You can't play him parallel, man. And your big has to be talking to you. That's where Corrin should be at the backbone saying, send him right, send him right, send him right. Corrin gets caught off guard as well, and that's a bucket.
You think enough contact for a foul there from Corrin?
It doesn't matter. Okori's so good at creating contact in that situation. And what did we just talk about? Having a player of his magnitude down the stretch, KB, anything is possible when you have a prolific and elite scorer, especially off the dribble, like Okori.
So now for Pitt, 23 seconds to go. Witherspoon will inbound. Minor, Dunning, Moore, and Cialipa are on the floor. Rahosi back in the game to defend for Stanford with Agarwal, Keeler, Okori, and Kamen. DeMarco Minor. Around a screen for three. Short. Long rebound. Keeler knocks it to Dunning. It's loose. Keeler fighting to knock it away again. Witherspoon, it's more in the backcourt with 7.
Gotta go.
Minor driving. DeMarco Minor. No. Put back. Yes. 9/10 of a second to go. Pittsburgh is in front. The officials have to check the clock, which stopped with 9/10 of a second left and went down to 4/10. But the Pitt Panthers, on their 20th offensive rebound of the game, this one from DeMarco Minor, have taken the lead. Was Minor following up his own miss.
The smallest guy on the court gets you the biggest rebound and offensive putback of the game. Keeler watching, fading out of the screen, not boxing out. What great recognition by Minor to stay with it. But this has been the theme of the entire game, the relentless attack of Pittsburgh in the paint and on the offensive glass.
DeMarco Minor, who started his career at a junior college, South Suburban College, led him to a JUCO national title. Just put up the biggest 2 points maybe of his Division I life. SIU Edwardsville to Oregon State to Pitt. And now 7/10 of a second left. Stanford will need a miracle to keep its season alive. Aiden Kamen will inbound. He can run here after the made basket. Corey's at midcourt to keep its NCAA tournament hopes alive. Stanford knocked down by Cialepa. Only 1/10 of a second went off the clock. That will have to be reviewed as well.
Cialepa, are you kidding?
Now it's at 4/10 of a second, which is just barely enough time for a catch and shoot. And now Kamen cannot run because it's an inbound, not after a made basket.
But the ability to catch and shoot, you have to catch with your body facing the basket. That is incredibly difficult to do with 0.4 seconds left, the full length of the court pass.
We're going to get another official stoppage to check the time here.
Essentially, you're catching the ball in the air and making a shot at the same time while contorting your body.
The clock should stop when the ball strikes something out of bounds. It looked like it hit the table. Will there even be 4/10 of a second? There may not be enough time even for a Stanford catch and shoot.
Just a fight down the stretch. The job DeMarco Minor has done on Okori, staying with the glass, getting the offensive rebound, and then Cialepa right here, getting the deflection. Can't really see it there from that angle, but still.
It didn't start right away, so Stanford may need even a more miraculous miracle. You see the blood on the lip of Okori, who's been playing with that a lot of this second half. Pitt took the fight to Stanford, and barring something absolutely insane, Pitt will eliminate Stanford from this ACC tournament and from NCAA tournament contention in all likelihood. Now the bubble has crumbled every day. There's been carnage with everybody who's close to the bubble, but this would likely end Stanford's chances for good.
And you gotta think if Pitt goes on, they play an NC State team, obviously led by Darian Williams and others, but still the fight that Pittsburgh has shown here has been incredible. And the other day in practice, you know, people were talking about NC State's run with Kevin Keats and that anything is possible when you get into Champ Week.
Just 2 years ago, NC State from Tuesday won 5 games in 5 days, made the Final Four. So if you're Pitt, if you're SMU, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, that's what inspires you. Just 2 years ago in DC, the officials are still trying to figure out time here. Again, the clock started late. It's 4/10 of a second right now. It could be less. There's Will Wade, who's going to see one of these teams tomorrow for NC State. Will there even be time left? Could the game be over on this Cialepa out-of-bounds spike? 64-63 Pitt, 25 second chance points, the last two from DeMarco Minor with 0.7 of a second to go. The 10th and likely final second half lead change.
You see the ball doesn't hit the ground there for a while, but the clock never started. I mean, there could be a chance that there is no more time left on the clock.
The ball hit the table on the way down. Pitt fans are seeing the replay and they're waving their arms as if to say this game is over. I'm looking up at the video board here. The right slash cameras rolling back and forth. Everybody's getting this in real time.
I mean, you're thinking about it's almost half a second, so I mean, that should be the game.
If it's half a second, if this rolls down that far, Stanford would need a tip-in. They would need
I'm saying
94.7
seconds by the time the ball hits my hands, and if it goes out of bounds, the game should be over.
That's what Roger Ayers, Lee Cassell, and Jerry Heater are figuring out.
Just do this, KB. 1, 2. I mean, that's slow.
You got to throw some Mississippis in there. Well, remember last year how Pitt got knocked out of the tournament in the first game of the tournament? Zach Austin was called for a foul on Notre Dame's Tay Davis with 0.5 of a second to go. That did not look like much of a foul, and Davis hit a free throw, and Pitt lost by 1. So once again, a Pitt ACC tournament opener is coming down to 0.1 of a second. This time it looks like the game's going to go in Pitt's favor. Stanford, by the way, was knocked out on a Chucky Hepburn buzzer beater last year in the quarterfinal round, and DeMarco Minor right before the buzzer may have knocked them out again. Now the stakes for Stanford here were they were Joe Lunardi's second team out of the field. Everybody on the bubble is crumbling around them. They'd won 4 in a row.
It's going to be game. It's going to be game.
We'll get an official call here.
It's game.
It's over. Time has run out on Stanford, and the Pitt Panthers, who just barely slipped into the ACC tournament, will play NC State tomorrow. 64-63 the final. DeMarco Minor in the 131st game of his D1 career after starting his career with a JUCO national title as the game-winning putback with under a second to go.
And if you had told Jeff Capel that his leading scorer would have fouled out, he would have told you no way they win this game. But the defensive effort and the effort of crashing the glass has been the difference for the Panthers.
So Stanford, the first of 5 ACC bubble teams to play in Charlotte this week, has likely just had its bubble burst. SMU now needs to win against Syracuse coming up next. Virginia Tech, Wake Forest after that. DeMarco Minor, who became a new father last month, has been fighting for Jeff Capel and this Pitt team down the stretch. Off his own miss, the 6-foot grad student from Chicago wins it for Pittsburgh. What a start to the 73rd ACC tournament. For Jay Williams, I'm Kevin Brown. Let's get you to Taylor, Luke, Joel, and Jim, our nothing but net crew.